Hey, welcome to Unit 1, Lesson 7 video, constructing squares today. And again, we want to be able to construct a square a couple of different ways. The one way is inscribed in a circle, and the other way is to construct a square using a segment for one of its sides. That's the first one that we're going to do, and that's also the one that's a little bit more difficult to do. So I'm going to walk you through that with the compass, and then hopefully you can apply that into how the GeoGebra is going to work with it. But first we begin with a which one doesn't belong exercise. And again, do this. Hopefully you've already done this or you've done it before, so pause if you haven't done it yet. And all right, so let's go ahead and go through what these are. And again, on a which one doesn't belong, any of them can be the one that doesn't belong. You just have to try and explain or be able to explain why it doesn't belong. So I'm just going to kind of skip through that. Hopefully you were able to look at some of the details of those figures. So here's our first construction, and I'm just going to go ahead and go through it the way I would do this one. So I'm going to take a compass here, and we're going to use the compass to do this, and a pencil, and I guess we're on the pencil. So I'm going to walk over to the board. So I want to construct a line that is perpendicular to the segment AB at A and at B, and I want it to be the same length. So to find the same length, I'm going to put the point of the compass, put the center of the circle is at A, the radius goes to B. I'm going to do this, I'll do that in the green, sure. I'm going to make that circle. And now I'm going to do the same thing at B. Oops, let me put it right at B. There we go. And I'm going to make that circle. So somewhere up here, somewhere in this area is going to be where my segment is going to go to. And the same thing goes over here. But I don't know exactly where that is. I got to figure out how to do it the perpendicular. So we've already done the perpendicular bisector through a point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend my line, my segment AB. I'm going to extend that out so I can see a straight edge, and you can't see my straight edge, but I got one. Oops. I'm going to extend my straight edge out until it hits those two circles. So that gives me 2 points that are the same distance away from A. One of them is B, and the other one I'll call C. So if I can construct the perpendicular bisector of the segment BC, so I do the perpendicular bisector of BC, and I also want to do the perpendicular, that's a symbol for perpendicular, bisector of AD, with D being over here. So I am going to have to make my compass a little bit wider because it only goes to A. So I need to make my compass a little bit wider, and I'm going to change the color to a light pink. Make it a little bit bigger. And I'm going to make that circle. Oops. There we go. And I'm going to make the circle from B. And if I draw that line in there that connects those intersecting points here and here, where that line hits my first circle, that's my point. Now I can do the same thing. I'm going to do the same thing at segment AD. I'm going to do the second perpendicular bisector. Go to hot pink this time. I guess I didn't go to hot pink. I didn't change my color. And you don't always have to make the full circle if you're just trying to find where they intersect. Of course, on GeoGebra you do, but here I didn't. So they intersected here and here. And there. I'll line those guys up. Draw that. So where that hits my circle, my green circle, you go a little bit darker and go to black. Now I can draw in those segments. Go a little bit darker than that. There we go. That segment and this segment. And then all I have to do is connect those 2 points this way. And we have our square. This construction is gets a little complicated when you got all those circles on there. So you want to practice that a few times, and maybe watch the video a couple of different times. It doesn't look perfect, but it should be pretty good. And again, you're going to do the circle from A, centered at A with radius to B, and the circle centered at B, radius to A. Extend the line out, the line segment out, and do a couple perpendicular bisectors. So that one's a little bit tougher. Section, yeah, that was 7.2. Yeah, okay, I'm good. On 7.3, we're trying to circle a square. So we've got a square. I'm going to try and follow the directions. I'm going to construct a circle centered at A. This would be a good one. I think I have this on GeoGebra for the GeoGebra activity, so it'll be a good one to do there. Centered circle to A with radius AD. Circle at A, centered at A, radius to AD. I'm going to go back to smaller and a little lighter. And I'm going to make that circle. That way, I think you can see that. Then I'll make a circle centered at C with a radius CD. And since it's a square, that should already be set where I need it to be. Okay. Draw the diagonal AC and write a conjecture about the relationship between AC and BD. Line that up with my ruler that you can't see. So hopefully you've already done this and you've created a conjecture, and what happens to me, it looks like those are perpendicular to each other. So we're going to label the intersection of the diagonals at point E. And they're actually perpendicular bisectors of each other, so they're both perpendicular and bisect. And we're going to, that's our conjecture, that's what we think is true. We're going to construct a circle centered at E with radius to E to B. All right. Make my compass a little bit smaller. Okay, so now I'm going to make that circle. And what do you notice about the circle? Hopefully, if you did everything correctly. If you do it on GeoGebra, it takes the error out of it. But it should have, that circle should have intersected the A, the B, the C, and the D. So how are those diagonals related? Well, they are perpendicular bisectors, and they are each a diameter of the circle. So then you were to, this is the inscribe using the conjecture that we just kind of figured out. We're going to inscribe a square. Now this is actually a lot easier than the first one. So step one, all we have to do is draw in a diagonal. I'm going to draw in, and I'll go like this. You can't see it, so. And then I need to simply construct the perpendicular bisector of that diagonal. So I just drew in a random diagonal, and then I did a perpendicular bisector. And pointing. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to open up my pencil, I'm going to go to a light green, I'm going to make that circle, go to the other side, make that circle, and then I'm going to draw that diagonal, line those things up. Wow, that is. So on my board, my aspect ratio is a little different, so it doesn't look quite right, but it looks like on the screen it looks pretty good. So then I'm just going to connect each of those endpoints. So now I'm going to go black and a little darker, and with my ruler, and each of the, where those hit your circle, where the perpendicular bisector hits the circle and the ends of my original diameter, that creates my square. Not where the two circles intersect, because those don't intersect on the circle, but rather where the perpendicular bisector hits my circle, and that creates my square. Okay, so if you're going to do the "Are you ready for more?" Let you try and do that. Can't quite read it. Try to do one that fits perfectly outside of the circle. So I'll let you kind of experiment with that and see if you can figure that one out, if you want to try that. So now in the summary, again, in the lesson, you get the summary. Please read through those summaries. Lots of vocabulary, lots of things that we've talked about, kind of gives you definitions and or like descriptions of things. A regular polygon has all equal sides and all equal angles. There is more to the summary if through Canvas, the new link that I've provided gives you a little bit more of an in-depth summary than what I'm giving you right here. So once you get that done, hopefully you're able to go and complete the lesson quiz, which is, again, the practice problems, I believe. So thanks for being here, and take care, and we'll see you later.